Welcome to Rude Awakening TV. Today we are going to take you on 2 farm tours and cook 2 recipes based on the product of those 2 farms. We will be taking you to Leahy-Lehor Farms at 496 County Road 8 in Indian River, just south of Lakefield. There we're going to meet Dad, Bernard Leahy, and his son, Patrick Leahy, and learn about the livestock and the beef cuts that are known throughout the Kawartha Lakes. We were able to bring home some ground sirloin to make our recipe today. We'll also be visiting Mariposa Woolen Mill and Farm Market at 1275 County Road 7 in Oakwood, Ontario. There we met Ellen Edney, co-owner and co-operator of the Woolen Mill and the Farm Market. We were able to bring home some ground lamb and some feta cheese from her parents' dairy, Mariposa Dairy, that we can use in our recipe today. Let's get cooking. Today's menu is spring asparagus and quinoa salad with a lamb kebab. Let's start off with 1 cup cooked and cooled quinoa. Just make it ahead, cool it, and add it to your bowl. We'll put you on the overhead so you can see the quinoa starting to break up in the bowl. Next, add 1 cup of cooked and cooled asparagus. This is about 1 bunch, maybe a little bit more than 1 cup. Cook it, steam it, and cool it. So the best thing to do with this menu is to have all of your things assembled and then just add them. Next up, add 1 to 2 cups of shelled peas. You can steam them, you can put them in raw, your choice. Add half a cup of scallions sliced on a diagonal. One half cup of fresh chopped dill. Half a cup fresh parsley chopped. A 1/4 cup slivered almonds. A 1/3 cup olive oil. Right onto the ingredients. The zest of 1 lemon. When you're zesting, put your zester upside down and you can see what you're acquiring from your lemon. A 1/3 cup of the fresh lemon juice. A 1/3 cup will be the juice of 1 lemon. Cut. 1 teaspoon kosher salt and pepper to taste. Mix that. Now we are going to be garnishing this with some avocado and some feta cheese, but we're going to make our kofta and let this just sit for a while. Let all of those flavors mix together. All right, we'll set this aside. While I tidy this up and get ready to make our kofta, let's go take you to Mariposa Woolen Market. We're here at Mariposa Woolen Mill and Market at 1275 Highway 7. Let's go in and talk to Ellen.
So hi, my name is Ellen Edney and I'm the owner of Mariposa Woolen Mill and Farm Market here in Oakwood, Ontario. So I'm on the 2nd generation family farm. My parents, Bruce and Sharon Vandenberg, purchased this farm back in 1989. And this is kind of where Mariposa Dairy started, right here in this very building. This was kind of my mom's side business alongside raising us kids, and it kind of all went from there. In 2015, there was a decision to part ways with the goats. And so a few years after that, it actually happened, which left a very unique situation where the buildings here at the home farm were actually empty. So I kind of had to do a reverse business plan where instead of having an idea and finding the space, I had the space and I had to figure out the idea. So this is where the wool mill kind of came about. We found the equipment. This is kind of a world that I submerged myself into, much larger than I ever anticipated.
So Ellen, there's so many things that you do here. There's three components that I see. There is the agritourism, there's the retail that we can see around us, but there's also the woolen mill.
Yes.
So it's too hard for me to say what do you do. Tell us about those three components.
Sure. So yeah, the base of the business started with the wool mill. This is definitely a passion, something I see really investing to grow. The whole textiles being used, so natural textiles being used outside of just textiles for your clothing in more innovative ways is definitely a passion of mine. And that kind of grew because the wool mill was kind of open for agritourism at the beginning, for free tours to kind of understand the process of what happens between shearing a sheep to a finished yarn. There was definitely a disconnect with that, and so that's where we kind of started with the agritourism. Later on we grew to tulips, which is still, I absolutely adore tulips. They are a lot of work, but I definitely, to see the field in bloom every spring is really rewarding. We offer pumpkins. We're getting into a summer offering of hopefully sunflowers, different kind of things, kind of playing on the seasons. We've offered a food truck. People were looking for a meal when they were here. So lots of different things. The retail.
Sorry, but so what you're saying is this is a place for families to come and spend the day.
Absolutely, yes. So we've really. We're really trying to build something that I would like to take my family to, which is really convenient for your back door. But yeah, just a year-round kind of place to be, safe, fun time to spend together. Our lives are so busy. It's really nice to have a spot for families, parents to come together of multiple generations really, to really spend time and make memories. So that's been a really fun part of the business.
As a chef, I keep coming back to the primary food source and what kind of food you produce. So we see that you carry a lot of local products. Here's some red mill maple syrup. I see other things around that are local producers. What do you produce that the consumers, the viewers that are watching could use?
Right. So one of the things that kind of made me insane when we first started, we started all these things at once, which I definitely do not advise. One of the things we started right off the bat was also raising lamb. So that was a whole different industry, a whole different ball game. It tied in with the wool mill, so it was a natural, let's give it a shot. So over time, we've kind of slowly decreased the meat production that we're doing on the farm, and instead, through this kind of retail space, we've really come across other small producers who are doing something similar. So why don't we support what they're doing and kind of link in with what they're doing? So a lot of our meat in the future will be sourced from these local farms. And so one of the things that we will be getting into more so with the tying into the events is the growing of some fruits and vegetables for here. That's kind of, again, I'm doing business planning backwards, but that's just kind of how it's happened, and I find it kind of funny and entertaining, but that's just how it's going. But yeah, we're really trying to focus in on supporting people who are doing the same thing, instead of just necessarily just adding one more person to the offering. Is how can we support what you're doing, what you're passionate about, while we carry on what we're passionate about. So a lot of these products are sourced locally. One of the meats that we do raise every year, because I find it quite entertaining, is turkeys. So I really do enjoy raising turkeys. And again, the core of memories and the core of a family dinner. Again, maybe that's a bit too sentimental for a turkey, but it is something I really take pride in. I'm the daughter of Bruce and Sharon Vandenberg, who are the owners of Mariposa Dairy in Lindsay, Ontario. So again, this is the original building of Mariposa Dairy. And so what they produce is goat cheeses. So this is the Chev, multiple different kinds, award-winning cheeses. So something that makes us competitive on online stuff is that there's a video directly, specifically for that. Yeah, so she does the video, then she does a time overlap voice. Yeah, the original.
There's no goats on the farm now, right?
No, only my little Angora goats. But
so when you carry lamb,
yes,
it'll be someone else's product.
For next year, it will be, yes. We have still our lamb in the freezers. So shearing's pretty much a degrading trade where there's not very many people replacing. So it's, I guess, not degrading, diminishing trade. So the amount of shearers are actually very limited. And so in spring and fall, it's very hard to get a hold of any of them because they're doing the large flocks. They're sheared twice a year, so one of them always is quite cold. Yeah. So yeah.
You also take wool from other people and
yes,
dye
custom
and
work.
I've seen that on your Facebook post or your Instagram post.
A lot of almost all that what we do, besides just a bit of retail and online stuff, is the custom work.
So we did a tour at Pine Lane Acres and they shear. Would it be a small farm like that might send it to you to work with?
Yeah, so we can do everything over 10 pounds. So we have, people who send a bag or two, and then we have customers who send about 2 bags like that. So it varies.
10 pounds, how many sheep have to get sheared for that?
So it really depends on the type, ranging between 4 and 6 pounds a sheep.
Sheep, you get about 4
You can,
That's a lot.
But when you wash it, it loses about 50% of its weight in dirt and lanolin.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then these are all questions that a novice would not know. How long does that sheep get another coat? Is it a full year?
So it depends on the breed again.
Okay.
But
Let's say the Icelandic, which is really well known for that.
Yes. So Icelandics technically could be sheared twice a year. So Lincoln long wools, they grow about 1 inch a month. And so we can only process the length of 7 inches. That's max.
So every 7 to 8 months they need to be...
Those type, the long wools. Icelandic depends on the kind of nutrition and the feed. Can be sheared just once a year. But sometimes it's best to keep it twice to stay in the 3 to 5 inch range.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they also have an undercoat and a top coat.
But do you use the undercoat as well?
We try to get it all in there when people want Icelandic. But there is a way of separating the two. It's just labor intensive.
Is it? And how many employees do you have?
So there's about 5 employees for the whole operation that are consistent, and then we have our seasonal employees that come for events.
Okay, that's right. Like they don't have anything to do with the mill, but they're out.
Usually, yeah. So Caitlin over there is our full-time, almost full-time mill staff. Karen's full-time. Shri is the one who does the felting in the shop and dyeing, so she's kind of between both.
Okay, good.
And then Vanessa just started with us a few weeks ago.
for bringing us on your farm. It's a beautiful farm. There's lots happening here. It's a great family place. I see that you offer a lot to the community, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to showcase us. I appreciate it.
Look at the array of spices we're going to be using for the kofta. It starts off with 1 tablespoon of sumac, 1 teaspoon of allspice, 1.5 teaspoons cinnamon, 1 teaspoon ground cardamom, 1 tablespoon cumin, a teaspoon paprika, 1 tablespoon of sea salt and pepper to taste. Let's get mixing the ingredients together. First, we're going to take about 980 grams of the Leahy beef. Now, this isn't a lot of ingredients. Where all of your flavor comes from in these kofta are the spices that we just showed you. And we're going to use about 250 grams of ground lamb. The lamb is really imperative to this recipe. The two together, the lamb gives it that nice fatty consistency, nice grilled flavor, and the chopped sirloin, well, you can't beat that. We're going to add in about 1 yellow onion. I don't go slow on the onion. I don't go cheap on the onion because that's where your flavor is. About 5 minced garlic cloves. About 2 tablespoons of finely minced mint. It's really important, don't skip it. About 1/3 cup of minced parsley. And here comes the magic. This is when we add all of these spices together are what's going to give you your flavor. All you do now is mix. Notice that there's no egg, there's no panade, nothing but the lamb giving its moistness, the beef giving it its flavor, and the spices making it all come alive. This is a Middle Eastern dish. It uses that fresh lamb that's in the markets. It's going to use that feta cheese that we can find, and it's going to all go on top of our asparagus quinoa salad. That's going to give us that really spring flavor. Don't go quickly on this. This really needs to be mixed. All right, mix this thoroughly. You want all those spices, and there was quite a few spices. You want all of the spices to be evenly distributed in the meat mixture. You're going to cover this. You're going to put it into your refrigerator for 30 minutes or overnight. 30 minutes could do it. We'll be back. All right, we're back. 30 minutes in the refrigerator. Could use overnight, but 30 minutes is sufficient. We are now going to show you how to put it on the skewer. If you noticed, I'm using a skewer that has a flat base. You can have them bigger, but don't use the bamboo skewers. The meat tends to not have a base to sit on. So this is a metal skewer with a little bit of a flat surface. So make a cylinder in your hands. Put the skewer into the cylinder of meat, and here's the magic. This is when you're pressing it onto the skewer. And starting to work the meat down. It's going to want to pull away. Your meat might be a little bit soft. Your meat mixture might be a little soft from being worked, but if so, put it back into the refrigerator once the koftas are made. You want it to be as slim down the whole length of the skewer as possible. There's one. We take another cylinder. Now, you don't want too much because then you can't get it thin on the skewer. Put the skewer in, and again, same thing. Shape it down the skewer. If it starts to fall off, you can use 2 hands just to get the firmness of it on there. And there you go. While the meat is grilling and I'm assembling the garnishes, let's go over to the Leahy farm to meet Patrick, Bernard, and farm security Annie. We're here at the Leahy Leor Farm at 496 County Road 8 in Douro, just south of Lakefield, Ontario. Let's go see if Bernard, Patrick, and Deanna have a warm spot for us. The Leahy Farm started 1997, even further back than that. Tell us about all the multi-generational farmers that have been in your family.
Certainly. I guess we want to go back to 1825 with the Robinson immigration. Leahy's came into this township at that point in time. Our ancestor, Patrick Leahy, settled on a farm not too far from here. Then his son, James Leahy, came here in 1854. So I was raised at this farm. Patrick was raised at another farm that we also own that we bought in 1997. So Patrick is back here now with his wife and family, starting the tradition, or continuing the tradition, since early 2018, and he'll be carrying on here with his wife as time goes on. So we're kind of operating from two farms. The farm we're on now is the main Leahy, I guess you would almost say an original Leahy farm that we've been here consecutively.
So Patrick, you were raised on this farm?
Oh, I was raised over at our other farm.
On the other farm?
The other farm here, and my wife and I came here in 2017, and we now have 3 daughters who are quite involved and interested in farm life, and we hope to go forward with them in a 3rd generation working together here right now.
That's amazing. I read online about the online auction.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I guess this past fall was our 2nd year of running this. It's a online cattle auction, kind of like a silent auction format in which we sell some of our higher end breeding cattle. They're available at the farm for viewing. There's a catalog for viewing, and then the bidding format is strictly through a website it's hosted on, and people are looking to source females or bulls for their own herd to bring in new genetics for that.
After university, when we went to school, I worked with the Ministry of Agriculture and Food and met my wife that way. We basically came back to this area, bought that farm. She's a dietitian by trade, so that took off. I was kind of home with the kids.
And then Deanna has something to do with health.
She works for the health unit.
It all kind of nicely fits, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it works in good. So that's kind of how it developed, basically. And then this farm here was where I grew up. We bought it in 2014. And now
this farm?
Yeah, Patrick and Deanna they're here, established here, and they'll be buying it, or in process of buying it.
It's a beautiful farmhouse.
Now, so yeah.
And what's your season like? When will you get calves? When will you get when will you lamb? What's that season?
Yeah, so I guess we have a couple different groups which allow us to hit different markets with it. Right now we have a kind of 12 to 15 winter calving cows, and that gives us some calves available for selling in our online sale in the fall. Additionally, a large number of the cattle calve through May and June. It's a wonderful time of year to calve. It's healthy. And then lambing, once again, a couple of groups. We have one group right now. It's not great weather, but they're lambing indoors, and that allows us to sell some lamb ready earlier in this season, and then the majority of them coming into spring, which allows us to hit the late fall and Christmas market, which is a popular time of year.
For breeding purposes, they're going to be, say, 14 months to a year and a half before they can service very many females.
And the cows can start breeding about a year?
Yeah, you're usually a little later, 14 months to that 18-month period. It just depends when you want those calves to be born.
So what livestock do you have on this farm? And do you have any livestock on your farm?
Yes, generally speaking, we'll have, particularly in the grazing period in the summer, we'll have the shorthorn herd over there. We bring them here for the winter because there's much more hay here right now. We can utilize all that manure that's here to do the bale grazing that we have set up, or Patrick has set up out there. We'll also, at times, we have sheep at the other farm, and sometimes in the summer we'll do meat birds, perhaps chickens or turkeys too.
Yeah, for sure. There's some sheep here, about 12 ewes, and we've raised the lambs. We sell some locally to other farmers as breeding mothers, and then we finish the rams for for lamb, for meat. There's a variety of cattle. There's mainly Simmental herd here, and some crossbred cattle. They sell in a few different streams. Some, again, as breeding stock to other farmers who are looking for bulls or females for their own herds, and then a number of them as well go into our beef program. Some of that, a few grass-fed, some a mix of grain, grass, and hay in their feeding and their diet. And we sell that mainly directly from here on the farm through our website, through word of mouth and social media.
And your website, that's leorfarms.ca?
That's right.
So do you ever take, because you've got such high-end breed, do you ever just loan a bull out for stud service? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, not typically. We prefer you buy than borrow if we could. But I mean, certainly locally we've helped some neighbors out in that way.
It's just
well.
I've been on other farms where we talk about not intergenerational breeding. So we,
You want some variety?
Variety.
That's right. Yeah, that's certainly an option. And we've really enjoyed growing our meat program and selling directly to the consumers. It's rewarding to see what they take the product home, what they do with it, what they enjoy, what they like different, how their orders change and evolve over time. So do you have chickens, turkeys? Yeah, chickens. Yeah, we raise meat birds through the summer. We sell eggs as well, and we do a bit of turkey, depending on how that turns out. They can be a hit or miss kind of animal.
That's what I've heard.
Some geese and ducks as well.
So everything that you sell on this farm, it could really sustain a whole family.
Pretty much,
because you've got everything from chickens, geese today?
Geese, duck, chicken,
lamb.
And we find ourselves, we buy very little meat.
I'll bet.
Beef. We dabble in lamb, though we sell more of it than we eat ourselves. Chicken, even the kids love to pick up a big drumstick, and our own eggs. So really it covers a lot of your protein bases right there with lots of variety.
Your main income is your beef sales.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Well, I think for me, at least, it'd be diverse in the breeding animals, the beef. I do some rail fencing as custom work as well.
Okay.
So maybe we'd even be looking a third.
That's good. They're taller. They're bigger than the Icelandic ones.
They're really calm. They must be accustomed to the kids. What?
Yeah, so there'd be a variety. Mainly right now what we're doing here, they're going to be on grass for the first 9-10 months of their life or more. Then they're going to transition to water on tap in each location. We move a tub from tap to tap and they can drink there.
And how many acres do you have that you can move them around?
Well, it's roughly a 250 or so acre farm here. Some of that would be woodland, some swamp and that, so not all grazable or hayland, but a large area here to work with. And so here's an example. This is a cow, and she's going to be our next meat animal. She's had some issues. We're not really sure what's up, but she's just having fertility issues at this point.
Oh, okay.
She had a good calf or two, but there's just something not clicking.
So her purpose in life?
Yeah, it'll be largely, this would be ground beef, stew beef.
Thanks for the tour. It's been a great tour. I see so many healthy animals here. How do we acquire your beef? How do we acquire your product?
So there's a few options. You can come directly to farmers markets, Peterborough Regional Farmers Market on Saturday mornings.
That's where we see your dad?
That's right. Or the Lakefield Farmers Markets in spring, summer, fall. And then for us here, you can order directly through our website at leorfarms.ca. You can drop in, or you can make a phone call as well to arrange that.
So is there a delivery service? If somebody, let's say Bobcaygeon, wants to buy this, your website's amazing. You can shop easily with all the different icons that you hit. But if someone wants to buy it, is there a drop-off depot?
Yeah, there isn't a formalized system, but we would be glad to work with the customer on arranging something.
grill. I've got it on 450 to 500. You can use this at an outdoor grill. These have been on for 5 to 6 minutes. I think they're done. Let's plate it. So we're going to put our quinoa salad. Now let's say you don't want to use quinoa. You could use couscous, you can use rice. There's some substitutions, but the quinoa, the asparagus, the dill, and the lemon, that's all nice spring flavors. We're going to plate this onto a great big platter. This is the kind of dish, those peas, look how lovely that is, those almonds. This is the kind of dish that you can put into the middle of a table and everyone help themselves. Just the colors of that, the scent of it, everything is fresh and bright. All right, we're going to take the platter over to the grill and we are going to place the skewers of kebab directly onto the quinoa. Now, my preference is to remove the skewer. I'm going to remove the skewer. It may be hot, it's not very appetizing, it may be sharp. Maybe you want to keep it on, that's your preference. These, like I said, have been on for about 5 to 6 minutes and they're cooked completely, but not to the point where they are dry. That's lovely. We'll close and turn off our grill. Now we're going to garnish it a bit. The way I prefer to garnish this, I'm going to take an avocado and make some thin slices. We'll put one on this side, one half on this side. Let's garnish this side with the other half. That way somebody can take a kebab and take a piece of avocado together. After we put the avocado is some of this Mariposa Dairy Celebrity Brand Feta. We're going to break that up. Look at this. Crumble that on top. You could serve this with pitas. Pita, and they put some quinoa salad, a kofta kebab. The last thing you want to do is just the juice of a lemon all over. And we have spring asparagus quinoa salad with kofta kebabs and feta cheese. I want to thank Ellen and Dave Edney of Mariposa Farm for entrusting us on their farm, Patrick, Deanna, and Bernard Leahy for taking us on a tour of their farm. It's those Ontario farmers that keep these farm-to-fork ingredients on our table. Happy spring, everyone.